Hello, Quilt Roadies. How are you doing? Hope your day's going good. Mine is very well, very good. I'm enjoying myself. I've had a great start to my day, and now I am feeling somewhat in control of my quilting life. Just a bit. Just a bit. So I have on my agenda my autumn harvest block of the month, and I'm really hoping that I can have this done, which kind of has put everything else on the back burner. I would like to have this quilt done, quilted and bound before quilt show. And quilt show's in July. Quilts get turned in June, which means that I really have to put the pedal to the metal with this project. Every other project in my life has got to take a back seat to this one. I am now at the prepping stage, and I will just talk about my prepping while I prepare my blocks for stitching. So this was a Buttermilk Basin block of the month, and you can still get this on her site. It's a stunning quilt. It really is a stunning quilt. And that's the quilt down here. And I need to make these 4 sashing blocks and then stitch them. Oh, and I noticed that she has all these half square triangles. That girl, she does challenge you sometimes. And I bought this as a kit. Normally what I do, because I've been doing this for a while, is when I buy a kit, I'll mix up a little bit of my own wool scraps. But because I don't have those with me, I am using everything she put in this kit. So not mixing it up much. And then once I get this, and I need to get this done, this section of it done, because I am leaving here and going to Old World Quilt Shop, which I will share that video with you. I am taking a felting class, and I have never done felting, but it was a beehive. What could I do? And I get to see Monica, oh, and Debbie, and Monique, and Deb. Oh, just, you know, all my peeps here that are in another city. So, yeah, it seems like G and I have been talking about how it just seems like time has been flying by, just flying. And he said, well, you know, we spent 3 weeks dealing with the band toilet. And I get it. I get it. And then the weather has been quite different in terms of cold. I mean, Tucson gets cold. I mean, there's snow up in the mountains, but it just seems like a longer extended period of cold. Not complaining, because back east, holy moly, I would not want to be in Mississippi right now. So I thought I would just kind of talk you through my process here. What I did was, before I left Sisters, I prepped the background. And so I made 4 strips, and of the size required, and I already have the SF101. It's a Pellon product. And the reason I do that is that this is cotton, and wool is thicker, and I want this cotton to have a little bit of heft to stand up to the wool, and it is not hard to needle. If you have a sharp new needle, This interfacing on the back is very thin and it's cotton, so there's no problems with that. So I have to make 4 identical sashing pieces, so I'm going to just work with one. And what I did was I took a piece of soft fuse and I drew all of my motifs out on it, the number I needed. And then last night, while I was watching a documentary on cats, it was fascinating. You know, I've always said God made me allergic to cats because he knew I'd be a cat lady. And I was, and G was laughing at me because I was watching that documentary over there and I was going, do you think I'm still allergic to cats? I mean, maybe when I became an AARP card carrying person, I don't have my allergies anymore. And here I am watching this documentary on cats, and it was totally fascinating on PBS. I'm Googling on my phone, are there cats you can have that aren't allergic? And is there? But see, I tried to, not to get all the suggestions, I tried it all. I took shots, and finally my allergist said, you know, the cat is the one that's causing your anaphylaxis and bringing you in the office after you get your shot. I think you need to give it up. It's so sad. I really, but then I would have a ton of cats. I would. So, while I was watching the PBS, I cut out all of my pieces. And I'm on my June Taylor board. So I've got my piece of fabric, and I'm just gonna, and I can kind of see where the center is because I held that, folded it in half all this way. So yeah. So I'm finding the center, and then I had adhered all this wool. And just so you see, for those of you who, I know that someone asked me a while ago that it seemed like the kit was expensive, and it's true, without a doubt. But it's actually more expensive to, and more labor intensive, I should say, to get the wool you need. Because sometimes you can't get little pieces. You have to buy big pieces, and wool is expensive. And if you get it from Goodwill, like from jackets and skirts, that's cool. You can hand dye it, you can felt it yourself, but that's more time. So what I'm saying is that I have a huge stash of wool scraps just from doing kits, because, you know, that square, I only really needed that little piece. All of these pieces are leftovers, and I did not throw them away. I am taking them back to put in my scrap box. So in some ways, it looks like the kits are expensive, but it could be even more expensive to buy yardage. Okay, so now I'm just going to look at how this is done. So then I adhered to the back of each wool piece. Like this piece, I drew all my little circles on a little piece of soft fuse and then fused it to the back and cut them out into these little tiny circles. So I have all these pieces here, so I am looking at how she lays it out, and I'm going to gently peel the paper off. And the soft fuse, you won't be able to see this, but the soft fuse is on the back of there. And I'm just going to line that up kind of in the center, just a little bit off there. And what I'm also going to do is just measure. So if I put this 2 inches from the top, and 2 inches from the bottom. So it's going to be centered on my little spot there. And then I'm going to keep peeling these off. I'm going to tuck it just a little bit under that one. And now I need this color. I need a skinny one and a big one. The skinny one goes first. So it's not like rocket science. You know, these projects are primitive. And so if it's a little bit off, no one's going to know. No one is going to know. So see, I have my little pumpkin there. Now let's see, where's my stem? Oh, there's my pumpkin stem. Gonna tuck that under. Okay, so now what I notice is I didn't necessarily want to measure from the top of my pumpkin piece. I actually want to measure from the top of my stem. So let's see what we have here. So we have 2 inches down there, and we have only an inch here. So what I want to do is to move the pumpkin down to 1.5 inches. And let's see if that's more even. And this is how I do it. This is exactly how I do it. I don't lay something under, and I'm not doing things like for perfection. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So, oh, that's good. So it's 1.5 inches up and 1.5 inches down. So now I know that pumpkin is. And then I notice that the center of my pumpkin, let's see here, that's why I keep a ruler here. So this is like just about 8 3/4 and only 7. So my pumpkin has to move over. So what if I move my pumpkin this way? And that's why you don't want to steam things down right away. You want to kind of get everything situated and moved around. Okay, so 8 and 8. Okay. So this first one is the one that takes a little bit longer because you kind of see. Now next time I'll be able to see, oh, my stem has to be at my middle point. Okay. And not all pumpkins are made the same, by the way. So now I'm looking for, well, I'll put my stems first. So this stem goes that way, and this stem goes this way. And that's the other thing when you're drawing, these are mirror images, so you have to be careful about the drawing. Oh, my stomach is growling. Did you hear that? Oh my gosh. And look like they're coming out of the center of the pumpkin, so I'm gonna, and this is gonna be able to be adjusted. So I thought what I would do occasionally is, rather than answer the question individually, that there are, so I try to answer every comment, either acknowledge every comment or make a comment back. I try to do that, but sometimes I think, oh, other people might want to know this. So I decided what I was going to do is write down the comments. I'm sorry, write down the questions and see if, if other people would enjoy hearing the answers. Do you see it's hard for me to talk and lay out? I'm just kind of tucking things under ever so slightly. Okay, so this. So I wrote down a few questions from the comments, and Laddie Legionnaire, I love that, that really rolls off the tongue. Laddie Legionnaire asked from the last video why some of the quilts on their little cards said non-judged. And the reason being is that people don't have to have their quilts judged in a show. They can just want to have it displayed for other people to enjoy, but maybe they are not interested in, having it judged, because a quilt that is judged really has to meet a certain requirement. I mean, judges, they go through, quilt judges, they have training. It's not just personal opinion, although there definitely is that, that does happen, we like certain things better than others, but judges go through I don't know if you call it a training or instruction in what to look for in quilts, and it's stuff like how your binding is stuffed, whether it feels flat or full, the technique you're using. There's quite a bit to quilt judging, and some of us don't, we just want to show our quilts. So if it says non-judged, then your quilt didn't get scrutinized to be in the show. It just got to be in the show. And then the other thing is some shows you have to meet a certain criteria just to get into the show, like PQIF. They don't take every quilt. You have to apply to get your quilt in there. But so that's the answer to that. I have never had a quilt judged. I've had quilts in shows that had to meet a certain requirement, but this girl just wants to have fun. So, oh, this is going together quite nice. Once you get that first motif down, it starts coming together really well. This is an interesting choice of color, but I'm going for it. I might have changed it had I been at home, but I'm going for it. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, so this, let's see, this goes here. And then, we got to get one over here. Okay. Last leaf on. And then the little Little red circles. Okay. I may not have prepped enough circles, but I have lots of red left. That's the other thing I do for pieces to me that look like they're going to lift up. Oh, I know I didn't prep enough little red circles. I stitch those first. You also, I learned this from Lisa Bongian of Primitive Gatherings, you also can just staple them down. If they start lifting up, you can just staple them down. And then when you take a staple remover and, yeah, I only made enough circles for one. When you need to remove the staple, you just use a staple remover, it comes right out. And you can't even tell where it is. Oh, no wonder I had so much red left. Okay, so on to the next one. Oh, Sandy H. said, who got the free pillow? Oh, because this is the thing. This was my best new thing at the Tucson quilt show. There was Love Pillow. I'll put the link below. Excuse me. This pillow here. So it's a vibrating pillow. It vibrates by pressure. And so when I lean back, or if I sit up straight and I lean against it while I'm stitching, it's like massaging my back. It's like the best thing. And you know how I am about wanting to have tools that can keep us stitching or quilting longer. And there's ergonomic things that you can do. So these two guys have hit it out of the park with this pillow. And let's see, let's maybe go a little bit in there. See, this is how it goes when I'm distracted. Okay, pretty centered. I don't stress over a lot. So the deal at the show was 2 pillows for like $75. You could get 2 pillows. Or you buy 1 pillow and you get the second one free. You know, it was some deal like that. But one of the guys said, it's okay, if you have a girlfriend that's buying a pillow, we'll put them together into the deal. So the pillow, I think the pillows are like 40 or 45 each, so we got them for like 37. So there wasn't a free one, but on the website, and if I was not in the van, I would so be buying a second one, but I'm already testing the weight limit of the van, and I haven't even gone to the Addict or Old World yet. So yeah, there's a problem. So I just could not, there just comes a point when I just can't fit another thing in. But if you go on their website, and I'll put it in the description box below, it is, it's like my favorite new thing. Every time I feel my back or my upper back, I move it up. You can put it on the floor and put your feet on it. Every time I can feel myself tightening, I lean back and it's awesome, awesome, awesome. So Then Jill Romaine said she saw the quilt in the video that looked like Crater Lake. And I tell you, don't be intimidated by what you see at a quilt show. Those people did not start out like that. There's no way. But that quilt is indeed Crater Lake. It's an art quilt that was created from a photograph she took when she was hiking through the area. And if you ever get a chance to go to Crater Lake, it's a must-see. It's absolutely stunning. And that quilt captured it. I wish my videos you could feel that, because the thread work to create the trees and the bushes, off the charts, off the charts. And but she didn't start with that quilt. You know, she was doing a turning 20 quilt at one point, or a log cabin. But you know, we all evolve. Some of us get stuck, but don't be intimidated by what you see at a show. Be encouraged and inspired, I would say. And let's see, Gwenny asked me, where am I putting my trees on my Eastmoreland? They look, the houses look pretty tight together. And because that embroidery is all freehand, I can squeeze them wherever I want. And I actually am not going to put a tree between every house. My neighborhood's going to look a little bit different. I will have trees scattered throughout my little town, but I'm going to put bushes and flowers and bunnies and dogs and cats, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna have fun with that quilt. And I can guarantee you that Kathy wants you to have fun with your quilt. She doesn't necessarily want you to do it exactly like hers, and I do have an issue with that. I always want everything to look exactly like I see it. But I think I have been inspired by Sue Spargo in terms of stitching, and she's somebody that you really, if you really want to broaden your world in learning stitches and just breaking outside of your mind box, she's a go-to stitcher. And because of her, I can look at other designers like this Eastmoreland by Kathy Schmitz, which I absolutely love, but I don't just see what the pattern tells me to see. I think, oh, I can do this, or I can do that. And really, I don't think there's a designer out there that is just satisfied with everyone doing the exact same thing. I don't think there is that person. But and then here I go. I'm going into. Whoa! There goes my notebook. I'm just kind of, what I'm doing now is I'm just pressing. I'm not ironing. I'm pressing. I'm steaming, getting that soft fuse to. And I know that some of my circles, I didn't get enough soft fuse, so I'm going to have to stitch those first. But Deidre, you can copy anything I do. That's why I make the videos, to share, to inspire, because I am just trying to, I'm not a designer. I enjoy stitching. And when I learn a new idea from a designer, or I learn a new idea from one of you, I want to do it. I want to try it. And I think that's the best. What did I used to say? I used to say copying is the highest form of flattery. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if my little circles are going to stay. Yeah, they are. So I turn my whole piece over and I steam it through the backside of the SF-101. Because and the reason I do this, the reason I use fusible and is because I travel so much and I don't want to lose my pieces. And so I fuse them. I don't want to track them down. Where's this piece to stitch on? I want everything to look as if it was stitched, and all I have to do is the stitching. Now this project basically uses a whip or a blanket stitch, and but you can add specialty stitches if you want. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah. So there's banner number 1, ready for stitching. So now I'm going to be doing the other floor so that I can take this with me when I go down to Old World and get this stitched, because I need this, because there still is some actual piecing blocks that I have to make, and hopefully those won't take too long, and hopefully my half square triangles will just fit perfectly. Yeah, this is an adorable quilt. An adorable quilt. There I was talking while my face was being covered, huh? But this is the, geez, this is the Autumn Harvest block of the month. And Stacy keeps kind of knocking it out of the park every year, and I know I have been watching people do the Home Sweet Home free block of the month. You know, there's a sense of generosity in that woman. She, I don't know how much longer she can keep doing this, but every year she designs a block of the month that starts in January that is free. The pattern is free. And as long as you download it by a certain date every month, you get it free. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay for it. But that pattern looked adorable. And that's the thing that happens for me, is that being on the road, do you hear that jet? We're near the Pima Air Station. The Air Force is based here in Tucson. And that's one of those, that's part of the fleet that our Commander-in-Chief wants to scrap. I wonder what that will do to this base to scrap those planes. Yeah. But it's amazing to see the jets fly over and their training, and we went to the Pima Air Museum, which was truly amazing. It was a great day spent with G. Where was I? I've forgotten. Anywho, I won't bore you with 3 more borders to prep, but I'm going to do that today. And then the next time we shall gather here will be after I visit Old World, and I cannot wait to show you that. Have a great day. Have a great week. I love you guys.